Was it?
I feel like that was something that I did. Like, there was a period before I did YouTube where I was working with YouTubers. I was a software developer for Minecraft plugins for YouTubers, and I think during that period I kind of was looking into like what makes, I don't know, how does YouTube tick? How does it work? How does social media, I guess, work? And it's something that I kind of picked up on. And I was okay. Well, a lot of trying to look for similarities between content that did really good, viral videos, videos that did well, and videos that did bad. And sometimes it's really hard to. You could have a video that are almost identical, and one went viral and one didn't. But the big thing that I noticed throughout all of them was pretty much just that. It was like, well, I mean, it's different or better. This video is very similar, but this guy did it first, and that's why his one did better. Or things like that.
Right, yeah, and it's interesting because you say that and it sounds like oh well that's obvious or whatever, but it's actually not to a lot of people. Like, and the way you can tell is every time there's a piece of breaking news, if you go look on Google News, you will find 10, 15, 20 stories that are exactly the same.
Yeah, I feel like most people actually do the opposite. Most people look at it and go, oh, this guy did this, that's what works. Exactly. I'm gonna do that. It's like sometimes that can be good as a starting point, especially if you try and do it better. But it's the same. I feel like content's kind of the same with almost anything else in life, where like everyone ticks differently. Everyone has a different brain. Everyone has a different life. What works for me is not always going to work for you, but there can be similarities. And so, like it's like if you're trying to have a diet or something, like a diet that I would go on and work for me may not work for you, but there's probably the same thing. Eat less and you'll lose weight. So it's like there's certain things that are similar. But my exact method might not work for you, might be the worst method for you and cause problems. So I feel like it's similar with YouTube or social media, anything in general, where it's like that's why there's no blueprint. If there was a blueprint, everyone would do it. But there are things that you can do that are better and would make you increase your chances of success.
Yeah, what are a couple of the sort of painful lessons that you've learned along the way in terms of what works and what doesn't?
I feel like I always said since the very beginning, I just want to be me. I want to do the things that I want to do and not force content just because I think it's going to be successful. But also, what really sucks is if you put out something that you're doing purely because, oh, I think this is going to be the next big thing, or this is going to be a huge thing that whatever, and then it doesn't do well, that feels so much worse than putting out something that you put your heart into, that you love, and you actually believe in, and having that not do well. Like, if that doesn't do well, then I look back on it fondly and go, oh wow, I'm glad that I did that. I enjoyed every second of making it and the time it took. Versus like anytime I've ever done something where I'm like, okay, I think I'm gonna do this video because I think it'll get the most views or whatever, but my heart's not in it. Which is why I feel like a lot of the things that I've done ended up like ending. And like Manhunt. I did a massive series called Manhunt, and that it was still at its peak and getting hundreds of millions of views, and I ended it. Because at the time I was getting into other things, and it wasn't my heart at that moment, so I didn't force it. I was like, I'm going to continue. I feel like that it shows in your content when you're doing that as well, and it makes people more attached to the things that you do and recognize that everything has passion, everything you're actually giving your all. So basically, I feel like it's never right to just chase after the views or just chase something just purely because of that. You can have an influence the decisions you make for sure. You want to make sure that you're forming whatever you're doing in the best way to have success and to get viewers, but at the same time, you want to make sure you're doing things that you love and are happy.